Awesome.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I enjoy having breakfast in bed. I like waking up to the smell of bacon. Sue me. And since I don't have a butler, I have to do it myself.
Three streams in 1 month? Wow, I must be spoiling some people here. Or maybe it's because I have some free time. What's up, everybody? I'm the Osnator. Welcome back to Good Ol Wrasslin. This is the second official episode of the reboot. Not a very heavy week news-wise. So tonight's just going to be kind of like we'll cover a couple pieces of news, and there's like a topic that, I was saving for with me and Rome's, but if he shows up late, he shows up late. If not, not a big deal. We got Shifty in the house. What's up, Shifty?
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much. Just hanging in there, just vibing and just doing stuff.
Stuff is good sometimes.
Stuff is sometimes good. So yeah, not a whole lot of big wrestling news this week. Well, like Netflix and Raw are still doing their thing. Max and AEW still doing their thing. But there's a big show coming up this week. Nope, it's not the Royal Rumble, guys. It's Saturday night's main event. I don't know if we talked about it, Shifty. I don't know if we talked about the last Saturday night's main event.
I don't think we did.
What'd you think of the last one? Because I got thoughts.
Well, I mean, yeah, we kind of touched on it in passing because I kept on mentioning how much I enjoyed Jesse Ventura in the main event where he was just given free reign on color commentary, and I thought that was great. And I hope we get more of that tomorrow night, to where he just says whatever he wants and he isn't handed a script, because I don't think he would even do it if he was handed a script. I think he just gets his bullet points and he's just given free reign. And that's what we need more of, because I can't tell you how much I can't stand listening to Wade Barrett and that other guy, Joe Tessitore, even Michael Cole for years. And they're just saying stuff that people just wouldn't say in real life. Like, this superstar has an unwilling, dying will to succeed, and just they overscript, and it sounds fake, and I hate fake sounding commentary. And I think what the absolute best thing about Saturday night's main event was just giving Ventura just free reign. It was awesome. That's like the best part.
Yeah, I'll be honest. The last Saturday night's main event wasn't the best.
I can't even remember what happened though. It's been a month.
I mean, other than the ending and like Chelsea Green winning the women's U.S. title, there really isn't a whole lot to really talk about when it comes to Saturday night's main event. I was on Rob's stream when it first came out, and even I still have kind of this opinion. It didn't feel like a big show. It felt more like a house show.
Yeah, I can't really remember what happened. I'm in my head. I'm trying to think back, but I'm just bringing back memories of the premiere for Raw. So that's overtaken the Saturday night's main event so far. So I can't see. I'm getting old, and I can't remember what happened a month ago.
Like, I like seeing the old school setup for it, and I like.
Yeah, that was cool. But they kind of screwed up on something. The set the old set. What was iconic about it? They had the big golden. Well, it wasn't WWF, but they had the big WWF like logo, right? But they're
Yeah.
missing the great big huge NBC banner, and that was missing. And that they need to bring that back.
Yeah, they got to show good spirits with NBC.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Bring the peacock back.
Also, there was like really weird ad breaks. Like you'd be watching the match and like half the match would be like over with. Like you miss like the really like the slow portions that it just comes back to like the person getting the comeback and winning, and it's like, oh what?
Yeah,
What the hell? I was like, it was just paced really weird with a lot of the commercials, and the matches themselves really weren't great either. Like they weren't bad, but they weren't like, oh my god, these are like great matches. Like I think the best one was like the triple threat match, but even then it was just kind of like okay, like it's fine, but nothing to write home about. Like, and the card for this coming Saturday night's main event is gonna. It looks interesting, um, but again, it kind of gives like very like house show vibes. Because you have Gunther and Jey Uso for the world title, which that's more than likely going to main event, unless because apparently they're also doing a contract signing between Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes too. So um, that's probably could main event. Um, but again, it comes back to just it feels like realistically they're not going to have Gunther lose to Jey on Saturday night's main event. It's just
he doesn't have a match at the Rumble, does he?
uh Gunther does not, but apparently Jey Uso is going to be in the Rumble.
So I'm guessing Gunther's going to be the one. I don't know. He's what? How many pay-per-views is there between Rumble and WrestleMania? There's two now, isn't there?
Let me check, cause after the Rumble, it's an NXT pay-per-view, I think. Actually, yes. All right, yeah. It's NXT has their Vengeance Day on February 15th, and then after that, it's Elimination Chamber Toronto, and it's WrestleMania 41 after that.
Okay, I thought they may have stuck an extra pay-per-view in there because WrestleMania is kind of late this year, or the Rumble's late. I don't know. I thought they stuck something else in there, but I'm just what I I I've heard rumblings and rumors and talk that Gunther may not be champion by the WrestleMania, but I don't know how much faith I put into that because they say he's not bringing a lot of heat. I think he's doing well on the mic. I don't think there's a lot of excitement behind him right now, and I'm just wondering if they're going to take the title off him and to get a bigger match for WrestleMania because there's only so many guys, so many spots, and there's a lot of big guys you can put in those two title matches.
Yeah, and the problem is, I think we may have talked about it before, but the problem is this I feel like the main event scene for WrestleMania right now is just kind of in flux because
Yeah,
of one person.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
we all know who it is. It's
I think it's going to happen though. I think he's going to. I think they're just setting up the surprise. But it's like I don't know if you guys said it or I read it online. He's probably going to come out as 31. He's going to it'll be the Rumble's over to 31. What do you mean 31? And he's going to come out final boss and he's going to win the Rumble or something's going to happen. I don't know. I think he's going to be in the main event. I just don't. I don't know if it's going to be him versus Cody or him versus Roman, or we'll have to see. But
yeah,
there's
because even
yeah,
that's like in flux because if Rock's not working Mania and he's not working Cody, like there's already rumors that Cena's gonna face Cody, and there's a really strong rumors there for a while that he was facing Gunther. So it's very weird right now with Gunther because it's like if you have Gunther defending against anybody else right now, it would be kind of like a meh match.
I think what's going to happen with Gunther, it's going to be a multi-man match. It's going to either be a triple threat or a fatal four-way. It's not. There's too many guys that deserves a shot, and I don't know. There's just too many guys that deserve a spot, like Seth and CM Punk and Drew and what's his face that's getting a title shot tomorrow, Jey Uso. I mean, I don't know. There's just too many people that deserves a main event spot.
Yeah, that too. But honestly, if Rock can't work Mania, I think Cody would be a better opponent for Cena anyway over Gunther, because I don't know if a Cena Gunther match would work, especially since Cena isn't at. He's not at his he's not in his prime anymore. Like, he's not at his peak.
And plus, you wanted like a torch pass, even though the torch pass has kind of been tainted by Cena losing to people like Austin Theory way too early in Theory's career, and
Yeah, and you know what? And to kind of sidetrack for a second, but I think to me that whole Theory beating Cena thing, I think did more harm to Austin Theory than it actually benefited him.
Yeah.
Because Cena said it best. When you beat me, all you're gonna say is you beat me. And then great, but what are you gonna do after that? Nothing. He did nothing. If it was gonna lead to something bigger for Austin Theory, he'd be I think he'd be a much bigger star than he is right now. But right now, he's just a tag team guy in the mid card.
Right now, he's less than Baron Corbin for me. I think he's floundered right off the card into the oblivion. I mean, at least when they try to push Baron, he at least he was on TV, even though he had X-Pac. They kept using him. Kept trying to do something with him. But then again, it's a good thing because I really don't want to see Austin Theory.
You know what? I think a good way to maybe get Austin Theory fixed up more is I would just bring him back to NXT for a little bit. Do what they did with Baron Corbin before they released him, is bring Austin Theory to NXT, have him work on himself for a little bit, find himself again, and then then try again. Because it's when Triple H first took over, Austin Theory was just I'd say that was X-Pac heat for a while there, because he was just annoying. It was Miz heat almost there for a little while. And then when Triple H took over, because by that point Theory was the Money in the Bank holder and he had the US title. And then when Triple H came in, he was all right, maybe we could knock him down a few pegs, and you would think, oh, this is going to lead to something, and then he just reverted back to what he was before, and it's just, I don't know, Austin Theory just kind of a meh now, honestly. He's just not around to really care about him, to be honest, so.
Well, he's buried on SmackDown.
Yeah, so I mean, what is there to say at that point? The Braun Breaker Sheamus match, doing it here, I think that's a little strange.
I don't know if it's strange. I mean, I really like Sheamus, and I'm glad they're using him still this late in his career and giving him somewhat of a decent. I don't want to say push, but I think they have kind of used him way too much with Ludwig Kaiser or whatever his name is. Before it got on Netflix, I didn't watch Raw regularly, but every time I watched Raw, it was him and Ludwig every single time, and they already did it once on Netflix. So I think he should have been paired up with some other people, but I think just for that case alone, seeing him with Braun Breaker is going to be interesting. I don't think he's going to beat him. Because they're going to keep that bet on Braun till probably at least WrestleMania. But I'm sure it's going to be a super, super hard hitting match.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think Sheamus honestly has gotten way better since he
Yeah.
first came in. Like he's evolved and gotten way better in terms of like in ring and all that stuff. And Braun Breaker is just naturally great. So I am very interested in seeing the match. I don't know if I would have given it away this quick.
Yeah.
I would have
Yeah.
waited.
Well, yeah, but Sheamus isn't. There's a lot of people ahead of him on the card, so I mean, and plus he's at the point in his career where he's got to, put some people, younger people over. So
True. Let's see here. There's only like 2 other matches confirmed. There's Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu. This honestly is gonna be Jacob Fatu's like he's gotta like come out and like he's looked like a star since he's came in, but this is gonna be where he really has to prove himself.
Braun just came back, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope he can stay healthy. I don't think they're ever going to do anything with him again now, but I just hope he can at least get a solid year to where he doesn't get hurt. And I really would like to see this match because I like both of them. But Strowman's on the list of short list of it's probably a long list, but he's one of the guys I think if he could have stayed healthy and if McMahon had his head in the right space, he could have been a huge babyface for the WWE, but they didn't use him. I think even though a lot of people didn't like him winning the tag team belts with Nicholas, that was a solid Hulkamania like moment for. I mean, if you wanted a new Hulk Hogan type character that was felt genuine and real and organic, that they could have made something huge with him happen, but they never did go down that route, and they just made him like Big Show 2.0. And I hate
Yeah,
that they did.
it's sorry to cut you off there, Shifty, but
Oh, that's fine.
the thing is with Braun too is it for a while there it looked like they were going down that road, but for whatever reason like they kept like going maybe not, like maybe we shouldn't go
Yeah.
with him yet, and then by the time he finally did win the big one nobody cared because it was like, oh,
Did he win the
okay.
big one?
Yeah,
He,
because he faced Goldberg at the COVID Mania because Roman was sick, so they just kind of were like, all right, here's the belt, and then everyone was
wait,
like,
they did? They gave him the belt? I see. That was during the 2 years I quit watching. So wow, I'll have to go back and check that out. I didn't know they gave him. Was the world title or?
it was the Universal title.
Wow, I'll have to go check that out. I did not know that they did that. That's
Uh,
crazy.
you know what, Shifty? Just to save you the trouble, I'm gonna break down his run for you because there really isn't a lot to talk about.
Okay.
Um, he basically feuded with Bray Wyatt the entire time.
Uh-huh.
I think he had like a mini feud with The Miz and John Morrison for like a month, and then he feuded with, and then he just feuded with Bray Wyatt the entire time and shaved his head bald and became like he was like I'm a monster, and like he like press slammed Alexa Bliss I think, and then Retribution beat him up, and then he lost the title to the Fiend only for Roman Reigns to go, that don't work for Bruce.
I,
Acknowledge
I
me.
really, I really should go back and watch those 2 years because there's a lot of stuff that had happened. Like Miz getting ate by the zombies and like the Hurt Business and the underground fight club that they had. I keep hearing about and
Oh
all this
God,
crazy.
it was so bad.
Yeah, that I
Uh,
had to leave. It was just that WrestleMania. I know they couldn't help it, but that first WrestleMania with nobody in the arena, it was just like I can't watch this. I can't. I know that they're trying. I know they're doing their best, but it just wasn't the same.
no, it was just it was very off.
Yeah, but I missed the rise of the bloodlines, so I missed out on quite a bit in those 2 years.
Yeah, even though a lot happened those 2 years, there was also Retribution. Let's always remember
Is
that.
that Well, I don't even remember that because I didn't see it. Is that the group that had the masks and the dude that came out with the Mustafa Ali had the Iron Man stuff? He was the
Yeah.
leader.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
pretty much about it. Yeah.
Okay. And who was that? That was Michin, Damian Priest.
No, it was her. It was. I believe it was.
It was the guy that Keith Lee used to fight all the time.
Yeah, it was Dijakovic. He was one of
Yeah.
them. There was a couple other people too. There was Slapjack.
Slapjack.
There was Mace. It was just a really bad time those 2 years.
Okay.
Oh, and we do have a women's match on Saturday night's main event.
Okay.
Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax.
Yeah, we've seen that before. It was actually, I think that was pretty good last time we saw it. That was wasn't that the one that was in Australia?
Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the booty cheek match. Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty good last time. So yeah, I just hope Ray don't hurt herself trying to lift her up or this close to WrestleMania. Yeah, I think that would be pretty
They really went, yeah, no,
marketing.
so we're not doing the Rhea Liv stuff anymore. So here, go face Nia Jax for a show, and everyone
Yeah,
secretly was going, "Thank God it's not happening."
that Bailey Nia Jax match the other night was pretty decent. I'm liking Bailey a lot here lately. I'm kind of clueless though. When did she get so hot? I mean, at some point she's like went from soccer mom Karen to like this. I don't know. She's really changed up her image in the last year or so, or ever since she won the Rumble. She's completely just 180 her appearance and stuff. So she's got the Sasha Banks hair color now and everything.
You know what? I think that's what it is. I think it's the hair color.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope she gets a decent match at WrestleMania.
She might be a mid-card match, I think. Because I heard like it seems like they're getting ready to get Roxanne Perez up there on the main roster. So that could and they're having little teases there in NXT. It seems like Roxanne Bailey's going to be the way to go.
Yeah, that they set that up the other night. That's exactly what they did.
So I honestly, that would be a good big match for Roxanne, but it'd also be really, really good for Bailey to get out there and work with somebody who is like kind of being primed to be one of the next big names.
Yeah, unless when is Vengeance?
February 15th.
Unless that's going to be a Vengeance match.
It could be.
Yeah. Because I don't think they would bring an NXT star up for WrestleMania. That's usually after WrestleMania.
That's true, but it would be very interesting if they did do it that way.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's get into some women news. It seems like Nikki Bella from a lot of reports I've been seeing. It seems like Nikki Bella's at least gearing to come back in some way or form, whether it be in-ring stuff or not. But they weren't apparently she and WWE were in talks, and they've been going really well. So in what capacity she's gonna, maybe like a part-time basis, maybe, but I want to get your thoughts, Shifty, because like, do you think like right now is like probably the best time for her to come back, or is it just do you think she's just gonna come back more like a behind the scenes or like part-time stuff? Like, well, what do you think, Shifty?
I don't really know. I'm not a huge fan of the Bellas. I'm just wondering if they'll have some sort of awkward moment between her and John backstage, because I think the last time we saw anything of those two on official WWE TV was the proposal that went nowhere. but yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of hers, or so I think the less I see over the best. I think her time's over. I don't know. Maybe she'll put over some new talent or something if she does come back, but I could care less. I just
Yeah, I think the problem is right now
there's no room for her.
yeah, I
There's no
think that's
room
what it
for
is.
that.
Yeah.
There's no
No.
room for or all the other people that's been on the roster for a long time. I just don't see where she's going to fit in unless maybe if WWE does have some control over TNA, maybe she can go down there and be a big fish in a small pond because she ain't going to be on NXT because the NXT girls are way more talented than she ever was. So I think she would fit in better on being a WWE ambassador or something on TNA. I don't know if uh, uh, what's her face? Oh God, I done forgot her name. From Virginia, what's her name? The
Um.
singer, the wrestler in TNA, WWE. She was in WWE. She's married to Nick Aldis.
Oh, Mickey James.
Yeah, is she still in TNA? They could, have a thing with Mickey James in TNA.
Actually, I don't know if she's even still in TNA. I don't think she's there anymore.
Okay.
But
Well, all that for nothing. But no, I think that would be the best spot for Nikki right now because there's no room for her on any of the rosters.
yeah, I think it's just a situation where I think because time's kind of passed her by almost because now
Yeah.
you have bigger names than like no offense, like maybe back when during the Divas era, like to a lesser extent, like once like the newer women's era started coming along, like yeah, she was a big name, but I
The,
don't think now she's as big of a name as she was.
the only way I could see this working is if it's just a way to bring back Total Divas in some capacity, and so they can get some of the NXT girls on there. But even then, they got to tiptoe around her messy divorce and stuff that happened here recently. So, uh, but I mean, I was actually a pretty big fan of that show. I'd fast forward the Bellas part, which was like a big chunk of it, but I actually liked it. I actually thought that wished that there was like a WWE Bro show or something to where have the guys hanging out and something. They showed the behind the scenes stuff with them, but that never happened. But I think more than likely they're trying that they may be trying to bring back Total Divas or the Bellas or something.
It could be possible. I think a Nikki Bella could work maybe as like a managerial role,
Maybe,
like
maybe.
bring her in as like a kind of like a manager, but then have her be like a wrestler, like do like a part-time wrestler thing, like
But
have her work like the bigger matches, but like have her like be like the mouthpiece for somebody who like would need it almost.
maybe, but then you're like, if they bring her in as manager, that kind of like raises red flags. Like, why did you get rid of MVP when he was like your best manager in the company, and then you're bringing Nikki Bella in as a manager? I don't know. I don't know how that was set with some people.
No, I know. I'm just trying to figure out a way that it would
Yeah,
make sense for her.
yeah, yeah. Well, did they put them in the Hall of Fame yet?
I don't I wonder if they did. I don't think so. Unless I'm wrong and they did.
I don't remember. Maybe I don't know.
Let's see here. It seems like no.
Maybe it's that. Maybe it's that. I don't know. I just don't think there's any room on the roster for her to wrestle, unless it's through the TNA partnership somehow.
Oh, so they are technically, they were supposed to be in the Hall of Fame in 2020, but because that didn't happen. Well, actually,
Yeah.
no,
No.
I'm wrong. They were in the Hall of Fame. They are in the
Oh,
Hall of
okay.
Fame. Yeah.
All right. Did Batista ever go in yet?
No.
Because he got okay. Yeah, he was supposed to go in, and then he got yeah. They didn't do it that year. Hey, wait a
No.
second. They haven't have they
Hmm?
have they announced anything for this year's Hall of Fame yet?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, because it's usually around the Rumble they something breaks about the first inductee. So maybe we'll hear in the next week who's going to be the first person to go in.
Oh, it's possible that could happen.
Yeah.
But I'm quite curious on who do you think is going to be the headliner this year? Because they're in Vegas, so.
Man, I don't know. I just think that they got to do Batista at some point, and I think this would probably be the year. Him coming off of Dune and stuff. I think that I mean he's the last like big headline guy. Well, not the last, but I think he's one of the big dogs that's not in that they probably need to use. Don't know really.
Do you think that because it is his last year, do you think they're considering having Cena headline the Hall of Fame?
Oh, he's not in yet either, is he? No.
No.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. Let's see. That would be a. I don't know. They may be saving him for next year, but yeah, it'll be him or Batista probably.
I would like to see either him or Batista at this, honestly.
Yeah, I just hope to get Bam Bam in there finally.
I hope so. I really want. Oh, maybe they could probably Do you, do you think this could possibly be the year they're gonna put Bray Wyatt in the Hall of Fame too? Because
Well, yeah, yeah. I I thought they would do it like last year, but yeah,
apparently they were, but they were like, with the timing and everything, it would be kind of. I think to them, I think for them, it would feel kind of like apparently they thought it was just a little too early for it, and because it was really recent, they're like,
yeah. I wonder if they'll put Brody in too.
Honestly, I would actually like them to put them together.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I think that would be a really, really nice thing for them to do.
Yeah, you might as well do it while they're using Bo to some capacity.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if the White Six will be around for another year. Because I don't see them. I don't see them. They're never on the pay-per-views. I mean,
they're just on the weekly shows from what I'm seeing.
yeah, they're not really doing anything with them. I mean,
No.
they were, but kind of because they had that whole thing where Miz got captured or something. I think did Chad Gable he got messed up, didn't he?
Yeah, like they just shot him in the head, and then
they shot him in the head. What?
And he came back the next week, and he was like, "What the hell's going on?" And we're all like, "Dude, you died." And he's like, "No, I didn't."
At least he
We're
didn't
all
get eaten by a zombie.
Oh my god, not the zombies.
Not the
Oh,
zombie.
that brings me back to like that's like how you get like a really bad like PTSD flashback? Like,
Oh yeah.
I feel like every time I think about like just like that era of WWE, I just get like you mentioned something, I just like immediately go, "Oh my god, I remember this," and I just face palm and I'm going, "What the fuck did I just watch?"
See the
Oh
crazy
my.
stuff. The crazy stuff that happened when I was a kid. It actually was. Because I'm biased though, but the crazy stuff when I was a kid actually was good. I mean, we had the Cobra attack. We had Ultimate Warrior getting locked in the casket and they couldn't get him out. And the Pop Shango stuff, Ultimate Warrior was dumb as hell, but it was still fun. You had. Oh man, You had Earthquake bringing Damien in the ring and tying Jake Snakes up in the ropes, and he squashed Damien. And then 2 nights later on Monday on Primetime Wrestling, he made snake burgers, quake burgers out of them, and he ate them, fed them to Vince McMahon and Bobby Heenan, and then Jake came back with that yellow snake called Damien, not Damien, but Lucifer. Yeah, that was good stuff. Like it was real silly stuff, but I mean they never went so far as to have zombies. I think the craziest thing they ever did back when I was a kid was the 1994 Royal Rumble, where everybody came out there and put Undertaker in that coffin, and then all of a sudden he appeared on that screen and he rose up to the heavens. You can't bury me or whatever. That was the first time I was like 14 when I saw that. I was like, what? I was like, what in the hell is this? This is dumb. And then 2 years later, or the next year they had Undertaker versus Undertaker, and Leslie Nielsen. He went to look for the other Undertaker. So it's SummerSlam. It was Undertaker versus Undertaker. That was dumb too.
But you could kind of look back at that and just be like, yeah, you know what? It's cheesy and dumb, but you could kind of see what they were trying to go for, and like, yeah, and also this was like in the 90s too, so it's like you could kind of give it a pass. But in 2020, when you're doing stuff like that, there is no excuse, none whatsoever. You've been around this long.
I've only heard about the zombie segment. I've never actually watched it. Were they actually eating them?
It looked like they were eating him.
Good Lord.
And apparently the Miz got hurt because of it.
Ah, okay. Dang.
Oh God, that was oh my God, that was so bad. What?
And during that era, didn't Ray lose an eye?
Yeah, his eye got him like stabbed out from like the edge of the steel steps.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I need to go back and watch some of that stuff because
I swear to God, like I'm not making this shit up either. Like this actually happened. Like for like a few months, he had like he had the one eye with like the his mask, like his one eye was exposed. The other one had like this like eye patch almost. And I'm just thinking to myself, what in the actual fuck? And there is also the pay-per-view where Randy Orton lit the Fiend on fire. But it was, oh my God. It was just so like it.
Yeah, I remember that pay-per-view where they were in the crack house and they were fighting.
Oh my God.
And then he burned it down after the match or whatever.
Oh.
Didn't he burn it down after the match? Or was it
No, I think it was a program beforehand. No, that match you're talking about, Shifty, ended because Jinder Mahal showed up.
Okay. Yeah, but he burned down the house too, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, I'm getting everything confused.
No, I don't blame you, Shifty. It's oh my God.
Yeah, and then AJ Styles and Undertaker showed up and they did their thing out in the yard.
But that was okay though, because that was like, realistically, you were not going to get a good match out of Undertaker in 2020. Like, even AJ Styles, I don't think would have been able to get a match out of the Undertaker. Like, I think a match like the Boneyard stuff, I think worked for Taker because he didn't have to do like 20 minutes of like a match.
Yeah.
Like you could edit it to make it look good, and plus, hey, it crosses off like that dream match thing with Taker and Styles, and you could have Taker was able to get his swan song. So you know what? I couldn't be too mad at it.
Yeah.
And also, it's the Undertaker. He's been through way worse goofy stuff. So I mean.
Oh yeah, like I just said, he rose to the heavens from the Titantron.
So I don't know whatever fucking crack they were smoking, but I really want some of that.
Oh yeah, it was 90s grade A shit, like, top of the line crack from back then.
Oh man, so we're close to the 40-minute mark. We haven't even gotten to the topic of the title of the stream. but because I know Shifty, you're not as big as an AEW fan, or you haven't seen a whole lot of their stuff. I didn't want to have the whole stream be focused on this. So, it's probably it's not going to be like a major topic because I thought Rome's was going to be here. But I think he's busy with work, which is fine.
It's all
So
good.
yeah. So it's just gonna be kind of brief, and then we can just kind of shoot the shit for however long we do this. AEW right now isn't at their best. I think right now from a story perspective, they're not as hot as they were. Like 2021 was like most commonly their peak year. Like that was when they were at their hottest. But now it's 2025 and they're kind of like, I know people, but they got the max deal. I know. They got the max deal. They got great talent. The problem is they're just very stone cold, and a lot of people like myself, like you watch like the stuff from a few years ago and you watch it now and you're just like, what the hell happened? Like a few years ago they were like selling out like arenas. Now, if you see them now, like they're like small, which works for them now, but my God, like it's such a tonal shift. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to compare them to WCW in 1999, 2000 because they're not that bad. Like, I don't like
No.
they're not like, trust me, it gets bad. It gets really bad. Like,
Yeah.
but the AEW's not in that spot at all. Like, I don't want people to mistake me going, oh, well, Austin, AEW is not that bad. Like, no, it's not. But right now, they're not where they are. And I think that's where a lot of the frustration is right now, they're not at their peak. Like, yeah, you have your max deal, but you, at a certain point, you have to go back there and say, okay, we need to change stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on backstage. Like they clearly don't have their backstage is just a mess. Like lots of
There's too
talent
much.
are upset.
Well,
Like
yeah, there's a lot of people that's hurt. We don't know what supposedly when Daniel Bryan, if he's going to come back or whatever. I think he's hurt again, isn't he? He's hurt.
no, he's just not a full-time wrestler anymore.
Oh, I thought he got hurt. Okay. Well, I mean, you got him. He's not wrestling. You got Cope. I mean, I know he's a legend, but I never really saw him as one really capable of carrying a whole company or doing anything. And you got guys that I don't know. I never been too hot on Moxley, and then you got you got guys that you're not using, like Phoenix that you could use, and you got Ricky Starks, and you got Malachi Black, and those are big time stars, or a couple of them are going to be big stars in WWE because they'll know how to use them right, and they're just sitting on the sidelines. And you got Britt Baker, who pretty much has, from what I hear, burned a lot of bridges backstage. She wants out of the company, so that's a big star gone too. But I don't know if they're going to let her go because I think she's in the same situation where she's got a lot of time left on her contract. But yeah, I think when I look at AEW from it, like I said, the outsider looking in, the main person on that entire roster that I see that just oozes star power and appeal is Toni Storm, but she's I hate to say it, but she's just a women's wrestler, and she's not going to be bringing a lot of people into it, the program like you would like a main event male wrestler. I hate to say that, but she is great. Oh, hey, also speaking of Toni Storm, I hate to go off subject there. Did you see the trailer for that movie she's in?
No, what movie is she in?
Yeah, they're making a movie about Mildred Burke, and it's starring Felicity, from the gal that played Felicity from Arrow.
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about.
And it actually looks pretty decent for an independent film about wrestling because it's got a pretty decent cast. It's got Walton Goggins in it, and I actually want to check that out. And I think Vince Senior pops up in it at some point towards the end because she's like, Mr. McMahon, what are you going to how are we going to set up with my girls there? So yeah, I think it's coming out in March, but Tony's got a big role in it supposedly. Okay, back to AEW.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah, it's just, yeah, Tony Storm's like really their own. Like, I wouldn't say she's the only big star there, but I think
No,
that's AEW's biggest problem
yeah,
is they don't build like these big stars.
and
Like,
the thing is, I only knew that she became like so great is because people started buzzing about her on Twitter and passing around the clips of her. I'm not seeing that with anybody else. I'm not seeing that with anybody else. Hardly. I like the Bucks, the Kenny, Adam Page, anybody in the Death Riders. I'm not seeing those people generate clips like Tony Storm and some of these other lower card people on AEW. I that's the problem. The people say that they're such good, wrestlers and stuff, and they're so behind the product. They're not passing the clips around, or maybe I'm not in the algorithm, but I don't know why I would be in the algorithm to get Tony Storm clips. So I just don't think that they're generating enough buzz for the people it should be.
and that too, and and I think we said this last week too. Me and Rose were talking about it a little bit, but it's like the company AEW should be building it around like you should be building your company and having your big main event talent be like Hangman, Omega, Osprey,
Uh,
Swerve, like the talents that you could get behind that could build AEW and build these young stars, but it's like they just aren't doing that because instead of building off momentum that the Hangman and Swerve stuff did, they kind of just were like, nah, no, we're
you
gonna
know what?
have Hangman do something with Jay White, and then it was Swerve's gonna work Bobby Lashley, and it was just, and then the Death Rider stuff. It's like there's no
Yeah.
direction right now.
Uh, the Hangman Swerve stuff's like the only time I ever saw clips of Hangman on Twitter is when he was using the stapler or something, or he was using the hype. Was it him or was it Mox that was doing the hypodermic needle spot? That was Mox, wasn't it?
That was Hangman, yeah.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, Swerve was in it. But yeah, those are the only times I ever see him, and it's like, is your product that bad that the only time that you get a lot of traction on social media is when you pull out the over the top hardcore stuff that you really don't need to do unless you're really desperate to pull in people that way? I don't understand it. I don't get it.
See,
And
and
now,
the thing is, Shifty, is I think that's another issue too. Is I think AEW is trying so hard to be the alternative that
yeah,
they really kind of lost sight of what they were at the beginning. Because at the beginning, they truly were an alternative.
and they were
Because
fun.
yeah, because if you look back at it, it's like WWE was in the drizzling shits back when AEW started. Like
Yeah,
if you watched like 2019 WWE, you'd say, yeah, people were changing the channel. Like it was that bad. So when
I mean,
AEW came, sorry to interrupt you, Shifty, but I wanted to make this quick
yeah.
point. Is
Go ahead.
when AEW came out, like it was an alternative because it was a breath of fresh air and it felt organic. But now
Yeah,
it feels like they're trying so hard that it's no longer an organic alternative. Now it feels very forced.
yeah, yeah. But when they started, I mean, it was a blast. It was a blast. Every match was a blast. But I knew a lot of the guys that were there because I had watched New Japan, and that they basically moved everybody from New Japan over there. And it was so fun. You had the Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy and which were relatively new in some capacity because I don't think they were in New Japan much. But you had Kenny and the Bucks, uh, it felt fresh. It felt fast. It felt fun. But as time went by, they couldn't keep the momentum up. And I think for me, part of the problem was I never liked uh, Moxley. I didn't like him as Dean Ambrose. I hate him as Ambrose. And then when it went over there, I didn't care for him, and he got into the main event picture, and that's when I started dropping off. But when it started, it was great. But now I don't know. There's too many detractors for me wanting to return. I just get bored with it for seeing some of those guys. But
to maybe kind of go like maybe to kind of argue that point, like I'm not necessarily the biggest like Mox fan either, but
yeah,
his run as Dean Ambrose left a lot to be desired. Like it didn't work. It was way too goofy. It didn't fit him. So when he went to AEW, it was like, okay, I want to see what this guy can do. And for the first couple of years, he ran with that. Like he had a solid run in Japan. Like then he went to AEW, remade himself into a big name. But the
uh-huh.
problem is, at a certain point, it comes back down to I feel like with Mox, it's not so much directionless, but it feels more like they don't really know. Like once it's stale. I think that's what it comes down to. Is I know people like to call Seth Rollins the MVP of WrestleMania, but like in 2022, like Mox was like the big like MVP of AEW because when all the Punk stuff happened, Tony Khan was like, "Hey Mox, I know you're going on. I know you want to go take a break, but Punk's doing his usual bullshit again. Can you just hold the belt real quick?" Oh, all right, fine. Like, say what you will. I do believe Mox truly cares. The problem
Yeah,
is, like, and I'm gonna bring the Death Rider stuff in particular. The Death Rider stuff just isn't working.
uh-huh.
Like, for whatever, like, to me, it's just the way they presented it, the way that, and I think that's the biggest thing that AEW needs to fix is their storytelling and their presentation. Like, you can't tell me, like, because this is their second invasion, quote unquote invasion angle from a group that they've done in the past year. Because
Yeah.
you had the elite stuff earlier on, and then that went nowhere. So they were like, oh, got an idea. How about let's repackage the Blackpool Combat Club and call them the Death Riders? Ooh, scary. Calling it's from the book The Outsiders almost. Like it's like a bad like gang name. It's like, oh God, who's that coming down the street? Guys, it's the Death Riders.
And I just think they go to the well too many times on having stables come in and just beating everybody down. I just you gotta do something interesting to you know eh, get people hyped up about another group, and I think that's why a lot of them falter. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's just I don't know. I mean, give them credit. I know it was a horrible storyline, but Aces and TNA, at least they had a mystery behind that to where you want to see what was going on. They drug that out entirely too long, and it was kind of bad. But still, I mean, there's this. I mean, you gotta toss in something creative. You got to do something new. And I mean, even the bloodline was something new for the most part, but it there's just not enough creativity and
Yeah.
creative.
And
You
that's
got
another
to,
thing too.
yeah,
Is the
yeah,
creative. Like there's not a lot there. Like there'd be times where like matches are just being made because matches. And then when like they do sign these new people and they want to do a big match, AEW just does it on TV and everyone's like, why? Like when they brought Ricochet in, it was like, oh, Ospreay Ricochet is the big match, but
yeah.
they they immediately were like, oh no, we're gonna do it 3 weeks, after we signed him. And it's like, what are you doing?
Well, I mean, did they build to that? Because
Very minimally.
yeah, because that's something you should have built to up to a pay per view with because those two
Like
guys.
it was on Dynamite, and it was just like, I mean, and also too, it's just like I feel like, and I I don't want to discredit Tony Khan because I do believe Tony Khan is a genuine fan of wrestling. Like you see it in the
Oh
way he
yeah.
talks about wrestling. He loves wrestling, and I truly
He
believe he has good intentions. I don't want to be one of those people that's like, oh, because like I see a lot of the old timer wrestler podcasters are like, oh fuck Tony
yeah.
Khan, like he's. I genuinely believe he's somebody like people have talked about. Like he's somebody who's been on the online wrestling forums. Like he's definitely watched like a lot of the indie stuff. Like he's somebody who genuinely cares about wrestling, and I think his heart is in a good place. But he needs to have other people there to kind of help him and guide him along and say, hey, this is what you really should be doing rather than doing this.
Yeah, I doubt Daddy would be giving him all that money to spend on a wrestling organization unless he knew that he was an actual fan. I just don't think that they would be dropping their own money on something like that,
Yeah.
unless because I mean that would be silly. I mean, and you can tell that he's a huge fan. I mean, from the beginning, it's just it's like the people that you know that put the money up don't always have the best ideas, and not everybody can be a Vince McMahon. Even Vince McMahon couldn't be a Vince McMahon for the majority of his career. So
Sure. It's from even like I think Tony also has just stretched himself way too thin.
yeah,
Like he's doing everything. Whereas Tony Khan should be saying, "Hey, like because and this is another thing too. Like if you're gonna like buy Ring of Honor, like try to give it its own identity instead of trying to make it AEW light. Like I feel like a lot of what AEW needs to fix is there's just too much. I think Tony Khan needs in the new year he needs to just cut the excess fat. Like he needs to get rid of some of the bloat. Like some of the talent, if the talent doesn't want to be there, tell them to leave. Like and
you know,
if you don't want them going to WWE, you can easily say, "Hey, I'll release you early, but you can't go to WWE for this X amount of time."
you know, TNA began to slip, or not TNA, AEW. Them going down coincided with Cody leaving. So you got to wonder how much Cody was in the ear of Tony Khan and helping out backstage and handling things. I really think at some point he'll maybe return because he helped start that company, but I think that he may have been a big part of the reason their success behind the scenes, a lot more than the Bucks and Kenny probably, because he seemed like he was always his mind was in the business and not just it wanted to expand his acting career, but he actually, from the way you could hear him talk, just because he wanted to live up to his to what his father did before him. He wanted to really get a business sense for the industry, and I think he probably helped Tony out a lot in the beginning, and that's without him there, they've kind of suffered.
Yeah, I would even take it a step further. I think once all the Punk stuff happened, that's what I think hurt them the most. Because, I mean, granted, I agree with you. I think the downfall did start with Cody, but it didn't really get driven home until the CM Punk stuff happened. Because
Well, that's because Tony didn't stand up and straighten that shit out when it started. He just let it build up and boil and boil and boil until stuff popped off over in the UK over at that show at Wembley Stadium. He should have. The problem is he got too friendly with the talent. And that's part of the reason why Vince had trouble, because he got too friendly with Michaels and Triple H and all, and that led to some problems back in the day too with Brett and them. So yeah, I think he should have had put his foot down and said, we got to straighten this shit out now.
So, to give like a quick sidetrack, going back to the Aces and Eights stuff. Apparently the plan for the Aces and Eights was that it was if Hogan was healthy enough, Hogan was gonna face Bully Ray and he was gonna beat him for the world title.
Oh. Well.
Thank God that never happened.
No, yeah. We didn't need that.
No, but that was just a quick sidetrack. But it's I think what AEW needs to do, and again I know we're past the hour mark and we're gonna wrap it up here, but I know we didn't really go too much into how we would fix it, but really again it's we'll probably do this again with Rome's. I'll probably title it something else.
Oh yeah, this is a topic he was really wanting to do.
Yeah. So we'll probably cover it again. Maybe I'll do like a bonus. Maybe I'll do like an extra stream with Rome's on the side and be like, hey, let's do the how we would fix AEW stream together. But AEW's biggest thing is they need to cut a lot of the excess fat and they need to get rid of some of the bloat. And Tony Khan really needs to at least start getting people in there that's like, hey, like just at least to help him out. Like I think Tony's just stretching himself out way too thin and he needs some people just to like kind of ease it off of him, and they need to advertise their stuff better because they don't really advertise like.
Actually, they do. If you are watching any of the cable channels in the WB Turner whatever entity, the corporate entity, like True TV or like CNN, I see ads on CNN sometimes. So they do, but it's only on their sister channels.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know you probably don't watch TV like older folks do. Like now, I mean, because my parents they'll be watching like CNN all day, which they shouldn't be because you don't need to be sitting there watching CNN all day. But you'll see AEW pop up like TBS Wednesday, or they'll be watching what's it On Patrol Live, and you'll see stuff on there too. So
Indeed.
I just think they're advertising to the wrong people. They're advertising to the old people. They're not really getting out to the younger generation. And I think part of the problem is they need to go after the casual fans and not the fanboys, not the marks, or the ones that only watch New Japan or stuff or the indies. That's one of the main problems is you turn it over and they don't have they don't have a lot of guys that seem marketable, and they just seem like just wrestlers. And I know a lot of people like just wrestlers, but you need marketable stars.
Yeah, and they need marketable stars, and they do need to start focusing a little bit more to the casual fans, because lately it has been very it's like they try to advertise to the wrong people.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to hurt them.
They're preaching to the choir. They've already got the wrestling marks in there. They're already watching. They got to bring in everybody else, and those people aren't doing a lot of good bringing in the casuals and the WWE fans because they're always at war with them on the social media. Like we're your show's shit, you don't know what good wrestling is. You should watch it. Well, they're not even saying you should be watching AEW. They're just saying that they're just attacking WWE. You gotta say, hey, why don't you come over here and check this out? See if you like this, But they don't do that. They're always they're tribalistic and they're at war, but they're not looking at the bigger picture to how they can help make their wrestling organization grow and expand.
Yeah. And I think that's what it is. But that being said, though, guys, I know abrupt ending there, but it is past the hour mark. I am battling a cold, and I'm gonna wrap it up here.
Yep.
We actually had like 8 people watching at one point, which.
Really?
Yeah, I know it's crazy. I was like, holy shit.
Those 8
Um,
people needed to say something. You know, like, hey, how are you doing? Hey, say something, and we can, ask us questions, and we can, answer them, and we can have a conversation with our audience because, we like our audience, and we'd like to conversate with them.
exactly.
Yeah.
But a good, but fun show though.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I like that. We didn't think it'd even go an hour, but we just went off on a tangent here and there.
Yeah, and see, I think honestly, me and you were talking about it backstage, but I kind of like just doing the one show format because, covering wrestling on a week to week basis, I think is just going to be, it's just way too complicated. And honestly, I'm not spending the money, I like the one show format. So that way, if like we banter, it feels organic and it doesn't feel like, we're not burning ourselves out. So
Yeah, and we're not forced to watch like, God, 9 hours of wrestling a week.
yeah, good God.
That's not even counting like Saturday Night's Main Event or the PLEs or whatever or NXT or any of the other stuff. God,
Oh,
just imagine
God.
watching all that. That's like over 20 hours of wrestling. Just imagine. I mean, you would have to be. I would have to be paid to do that. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
I would have to be paid. Yeah.
I love wrestling, but I don't love it that much.
No. God, man, oh man, that would be too much. You are absolutely correct. But Shifty, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter. That's at Shifty Gism. That's Shifty GISM. Mostly talk about action figures and silly stuff, and sometimes I get in arguments I shouldn't be with people. But you can check me out there, and occasionally, not every weekend, but sometimes in the late hours of the night or early morning, I do video game streams on PSN on my YouTube channel. I got a Dead Island stream series going and House Flipper, and I eventually at some point I'm going to start God of War Ragnarok. So check that out.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, you can find me here for various other streams besides this show every Friday. You can find me on Storms Nation. Rob's not doing Storms Live versus Storms Nation this Sunday because the Bills are playing.
Yeah.
And me and Anchor Care Bears do well, no, we're not doing a movie stream this week because she's got to work. And you can find me also on the Hangout on Wednesdays on the Basco Scenarios channel. With that being
Yep.
said, though, guys, that about does it. Thank you guys for watching. This is the Ostinator signing out, and we'll be back on next Friday to talk about our Royal Rumble predictions, and we're going to determine the first
Oh,
ever predictions champion.
yeah. Later.
Later, everybody.
That's awesome.